Hey guys, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
So far so good. Enjoying the camp?
Yes.
Who's here for the first time? Anybody? Whoa. Wow, welcome. You coming next year?
Yeah.
Yeah? Awesome. I've been to a lot of camps, guys. We've learned at them, but this is the place to be. Especially, you know, Florida. It's awesome. A lot of smart people in this building today. Okay. It's nice to meet you. My name is Jay Epstein, for those of you that I don't know. Nice! I got a fan. I got one fan. I got a fan.
And the crowd goes wild.
That was worth the drive right there. I am the co-organizer of the Broward Drupal Users Group, along with my partner in crime sitting right there, Hector. Give him a round.
Hector!
We have our meetup every month, second Wednesday. If you're local, come on by, have some coffee and donuts. If you're not, we have a lot of Skype participants. We do join.me, screen shares, so we'd love to have you. Come on in. I've been working with Drupal. I guess I'm going to hit my third anniversary pretty soon. Came from many years in the IT director side of things, and that's pretty much me. So, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but I'll put it out there. I'm not a fan of slides. I find them kind of boring. What do you guys think? You guys agree? It's pretty
We love slides.
It's easy to kind of nod off, you know, when you go. Okay. Well, I buy into that too. So here's what we need to do. Let's get through 12 slides, okay? And all I want you guys to do is remember just a couple of buzzwords, just three. Actually, three is all I'm really concerned with. Vocabulary, term, and a term reference. That's all we need to worry about. Once we get through the slides, we'll go right to a little sandbox website that I have set up, and I'm going to show you how to do this stuff right on the site. So we'll live through the slides, and then we'll be okay. So related content displays they come in umpteen million forms. They could be a sidebar block where we've all seen them. Actually, I'll show you one. You know, something like this. We're looking at a blog post, and on the right-hand side, related news. So if the blog post is about, I don't know, today's weather in Florida, maybe on the right-hand side there's a news article about upcoming rain. I don't know. You guys get the idea. And they're all over the web. The whole web is built this way. Better sites think this stuff out better. That's just really what it is. It's all about strategy and coming up with the bridge that makes the big node relate to the little node, and then the little node relate to the big node. And that's what we're going to talk about today. How do we make that bridge? Who ever heard of the word taxonomy before they got into Drupal? Not many. Cool, I'm not alone. When I was first getting into Drupal, and I was going through like that pretty steep learning curve in the beginning, I saw that word and I flipped. I was petrified. I had no idea what it meant, and it really was a problem. I was like, whoa, you know.
I thought it was like Drupal tax.
What's that?
I thought it was like Drupal taxes.
Yeah, right? It was like, you know, I'm having a tough, I'm taking it on the chin, learning this stuff, which is pretty hard for me, and now I got to learn this word that just is, I don't know. So I had a problem with it. But what I did was I found a way to reason it in my mind. That's what I want to share with you guys today. So, who's got a dish with cable TV? Anybody? Most people know the cable boxes and dishes and stuff like that. Taxonomy vocabularies are a cable box. If you think of it that way. The terms below it are channels. Hector, if I want to see history, what channel am I going to go to?
The History Channel.
History Channel. If I want to see sports, I'm going to go to ESPN. If I want to see I don't know, sci-fi, I'll go to the Sci-Fi Channel. If you break down your data modeling using that same analogy, all of a sudden taxonomy and vocabularies and term references become very simple to model. And also, the big one is very simple to teach the end user. Because think about this, you guys may be building sites for yourself right now, but maybe you're going to wind up building sites for other companies or other businesses. You have to train those people on how to work with the interfaces you create. If you make them difficult, using those big scary words like we just talked about. I mean, think about this poor content editor. She doesn't know what Drupal is, or he. You're going to say, oh yeah, just go ahead and enter in your node and choose the correct, taxonomy, vocabulary. You're done right there. That's it. You've lost their confidence. So I use this model, the cable box and channel, and it works really good. So for those of you that don't really know me, I'm a big, heavy-duty baseball fan. I played baseball for many, many years. So I like to use baseball as an example. And actually, in the little site we're going to play in, we're going to use baseball too. So let's assume for a second we have a small site. And I got 3 content types: baseball story, baseball equipment, and a basic page. Pretty simple stuff, right? If we use that same analogy of the cable box, and I create a vocabulary called the channel, okay? Then my terms could be pitchers, catchers, first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, left fielder, right fielder, whatever. Now it becomes very simple. If I'm going to enter in the story about a baseball catcher, what channel is it going to go to? The catcher's channel. The same way Hector said, we can go to the history channel and see history. Same thing. For those of you that find this not optimum to follow that kind of model, that's cool. A hint of advice: when you're working with taxonomy, keep it as simple as you possibly can. Single layers are good, although you can nest. But always think about the person, the end user. Are they going to be able to look at this thing and know what to do with it? And that's the big piece, especially as a beginner when you're starting to learn how to work with data modeling. Tone it down. Keep those bad words out. Also, the same thing with adding the terms that they're going to actually use to classify their content. And here's another good way to think about classification. We all got these things, right? See, I have a white one instead of presenter. So today, I'm classified as a presenter. That's really what this is. That's a taxonomy term right there. That's describing what I am today. Tomorrow, I may be a developer. Day after, I'll be something else. Okay, put the cart before the horse. Now remember I said we just got to get through a couple of slides and then we'll get to the good stuff. This is what I meant. I have a baseball story, and the story is about catchers, okay? I need to be able to take that piece of content and give it a classification. I need to give it a name tag. That's the vocabulary part, okay? All we need is to have that vocabulary set up with terms. And like I said, pitchers, catchers, first baseman, so on and so forth. Okay? When I enter in my content, I'm going to assign it or classify it to a channel, and then we're going to ask views to show us the related content on the sidebar, and we're going to get to that. So, taxonomy gives you things to choose from. The answer is yes, it does. It gives you a ton more, which is beyond the scope of this class, unfortunately. But for right now, it's a way to pick and choose with a select list how I want to make, what kind of category I want to put on this content. And that's really all you need to worry about for now. Here's the step-by-step. To be able to pull this off and show related content displays, you need a vocabulary, add some terms, add a term reference field, throughout your content types, create a view, and then place the block. That's it. That's all you gotta worry about, 6 things. So now, you ready? Wanna see how it really works? We got through the ugly slides, now we're cool? All right. Here's my baseball site, just like I said. And pretty simple, pretty basic. And over here, somebody added 2 new stories. Pitcher's glove. Is it different from an infielder's glove? Actually, the answer is yes, it's very different. And the tools of ignorance. This one is true to my heart, so I'll show you this one. Here, I have a baseball story, and it's about a catcher, or catchers. What I want to do is over on the right-hand side is have a related content block that may have some more information. Maybe you want to learn about the history of the catcher's mitt. Maybe you want to learn about the history of the catcher's mask. Who was the first guy that ever wore a catcher's mask? Who was the first guy that ever wore a catcher's mitt? In the early days of baseball, there were no catcher's mitts. They caught barehanded. So I think this stuff's pretty cool. So that's the end result. Over here on the right-hand side, I want to put a little sidebar thing that we can learn more about the tools of ignorance. Or, at the same time, maybe I like pictures better. Well, I also want to be able to see on the right-hand side, I want to learn more about the pitcher's glove. Why is it different? What makes it different than any other infielder's glove? Okay. So, let's take a look at our content. Not a lot. Catcher's mitt with a content type of baseball equipment. The pitcher's glove, which one? That's one we just saw, which is a story. Pitcher's glove, that's one you haven't seen yet. That's baseball equipment. And this one you've already seen. So there's some stuff here we haven't seen yet. That's what we want to show in that sidebar. Okay. Who has worked with views? Okay. Who loves views? Nice. Who's comfortable with views? Good. Who knows what a contextual filter is?
That's why I'm here.
Excellent. Sweet. Okay. Who's willing to admit they have no idea what a contextual filter is? You just won a book. Outstanding. Nice job.
You mean Adobe Muse?
Oh, what's that?
When you're saying Muse, you mean Adobe Muse?
No, views.
Oh.
The views module.
Okay.
All right, guys.
You got a funny accent.
So, yeah, I know. And I'm down here 30 years. Can you imagine what I sounded like when I first came down? Think about that. All right, guys, let's click back here for a second. That's a baseball story. Let's keep it straight in our mind what we're looking to accomplish. What kind of content do I want to see on the right-hand side? Things about equipment, right? Baseball equipment, which is the content type. So we got to keep clear what the data model is, what we have to work with, and what the end result is. Okay. So right now, I have baseball equipment, baseball story, and basic page. So this is a very small data model. So when I'm going to create my view, let's do this. Let's just do that for now, just to keep things straight. And what do I want to see?
Baseball equipment.
Yes, there you go, there we go. Do I care how it's sorted? Not right now. Eventually I will, but not right now. Do I want a page?
No.
No, I don't want a page, I want a block. Yeah, we can stay with this default, that's cool. We'll just stay with the titles for right now. Now views, by default, will already put in the title. Cool, one step down. But notice, I'm showing two. I got a pitcher's glove and a catcher's mitt, which is actually correct. Those are both baseball equipment nodes on my site. So it's actually reading the right thing, that's good. Who hangs out over on the right-hand side of views? We got one. Anybody else got 2, 3, 4, 5? Okay. That's the fun side. That's where the fun stuff happens.
That's a dangerous thing.
That's the danger. Well, yeah, it's got some danger to it. However, if you really want to drive views to do the cool stuff, this is the neighborhood you want to hang out in.
That's where the cool kids are.
Yes, where the cool stuff
That's
is.
what it says.
So check this out. Filter criteria. Let's talk about that for a second, because it's important that we distinguish between a contextual filter and a filter. I like to call these guys here hard filters. They don't reason very well. They're very literal. So I want to see content that is published. Yes. I want to see the content type of baseball equipment. Yes. And there's not much flexibility there. That's what they do. That's a hard filter to make. Contextual filters are in addition to what's going on with the hard filters. That gives us they give us the ability to access additional fields and really kind of mold this display to do exactly what we're looking to do. So here's what we want to do. We want to be able to view terms from our vocabulary, from that taxonomy. We want to be able to view channels from our cable box. Okay? This is going to be the bridge that lets us do it. That contextual filter is the clicker. That's exactly what it is. It's the clicker that's going to select the channel for us. It does it programmatically, as long as we tell it to do it the right way, but there's our clicker. So, how do we do it? Let's do this. Has taxonomy term ID? You may want to write that one down. Everything in Drupal has a number associated to it. Nodes have numbers, taxonomy terms have numbers. Everything's got an ID number, okay? So we click this guy. We're presented with a situation where we have to make some decisions. What it's looking for, it's looking for instruction. How do you want me to show this content? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to provide a default value. This is really nice at Drupal. We could be looking at a URL that says J's/class. But inside that URL are those numbers. They're actually going along for the ride. So we're just telling this filter, okay, go ahead and take a look at that ID from that URL, the number, load default filter from node page. That's good for related taxonomy blocks. It's actually telling you, dude, you want to check me. That's going to be, there's your bridge right there.
Excuse me.
Yes?
Will the taxonomy ID URL pick up with Path Auto?
Yes. Yes. Matter of fact, this site right now, actually when we back out of the view, I'll show you. When you're on a story page, it's actually story / no title.
Right.
So yes, absolutely.
So it's actually getting it based off the node, not getting it really based off the URL.
Correct. I'm actually asking the node what you are and then what you're under here.
So it's not really, because I'm thinking like old-fashioned like ASP, so it's not like that.
No, definitely not. No, but this is actually going to go out, take a look at the URL, grab the NID, the node ID. That's what and then it's going to know the T.
They won't list it twice.
Right.
Awesome.
So check this out. Right now, I only have one vocabulary, the site child, the cable box, right? If I had more vocabularies, they would be listed here, but in this case, I kept it small. Now, you could actually associate a node to multiple terms. In our case, I'm not doing that. Catcher's story is about a catcher. Pitcher is about a pitcher, and so on. But you could actually expand this stuff and associate multiple terms. So that's what this guy's here. So in this case, I always, by default, they share any term. That's the one that I use. Because eventually this site's going to grow. There's going to be more terms, more descriptive things, more content types, more pictures, more equipment, on and on and on. So I prepare for it up front. Hit apply. Now remember, before we were showing two, now I'm showing nothing. That's good. That's what you want. Let's save it. Now, we created a block, right? We already said that we don't need a page, we want a block, right? So what's going to happen here is if I go out to blocks, guess what we're going to see? We're going to see nothing unless we scroll way down there, and there it is. View, related content block. The reason I'm showing you this is when you're in that view, creating the view, I recommend that you name it intuitively, that you know where it is. Because if you don't, what Drupal will do by default is put the word block there, so it'll say view block. you could have 25 of those. Which one is it? There's no way you're gonna know. So take the time, name it correctly, and you're golden. And there it is, waiting for you. Where do we want to put it? We said the right sidebar, right? Sidebar second. So let's go ahead and save that.
You rename the block with the configure?
Actually, it's on, yeah, let me show you. It's on the view. Yeah. Right there. That's where you want to do it. Now also, just to keep things straight, I really could change this to something like that. You know, so this way when I'm actually oops, typo, sorry. This is internal to views, and you know, as you progress and these sites get more complicated, you could actually have 12 blocks here, right? You know, within this one view. So take the time, name them correctly, it will serve you well. Next, let's go back out to blocks. Here's my sidebar second. And here's a big question. Where do we want to see this related content? What was the content type that we were looking at where we wanted to see the equipment? Anybody remember?
Baseball story.
It was, somebody said, story. We were looking at a baseball story, and that's where I want to see my related content, right? So, story slash. Anytime I want a story, I want to show the related content block. Everyone follow that? Everyone cool? I also could do this on the content type level if I wanted to. Let's say I choose not to do that. I can do that. Show a block for specific content type. I personally don't use that option. The main reason is because I like using this other one. Well, here's the main reason. I can create a story today called Baseball Catcher Shin Guards. And that's going to get assigned a node ID. Let's say it's node 25. If I come in here and say, flash, baseball, oops. Let's say I did something like that. And then another content editor comes in and says, you know what, I don't like the way Jay named that. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. And let's get rid of this. I changed the title. What's going to happen with that block? It's not going to show. So here's the best course of action whenever you're doing this to be safe. Let's go in here. Node 4. So we could do it that way. There we go. Okay, so now when we're looking at node 4, what are we going to see? The block.
Yeah.
Let's test it. Something went wrong. Let's go back. Let's go back to that guy. Oh wait, was it, baseball underscore story, that was wrong. Tell you what, let's stay with this for right now. Just say a little bit. See? Hold on, typo there, is that what we're doing?
Yeah, dash instead of an underscore.
That was an underscore? I don't usually use underscores, but Let's see what I did wrong
Try flushing the cache.
here. That could be. Let's try it. Yeah. I'll get it, guys. Hang on.
You're on,
Yeah, I was on the wrong one.
You're doing accept, aren't you?
Yeah.
Are you doing every page except this one?
Just on the one story. Well, actually on all stories. Blocks. Let's see what I did wrong. Could have sworn it was that.
No, it's just story.
What's
Yeah, just story.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, just story. Refresh.
Maybe,
Oh, man.
I think like the wild card might be.
Oh. That's all good.
Go into your,
What happens if you put a line break after your path?
No, if there's nothing there, you mean?
Well, yeah, well, I know that there was a bug, some versions back that it, and I can't remember if it was specifically with regard to blocks or not, but it would actually ignore the last line if it didn't have a line break after.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But I have no idea if that's the case here.
That's how you turn on. Good. That's all fine. It's good. Oh, I know. So neat. This part's actually good. You know what we forgot to do, guys?
So apply.
Wait, check this out. Watch this. All right, check it out.
oh, I know.
We forgot the biggest piece of all.
Editing, adding the field.
I got a title and a description. I haven't been able to categorize this content, right? Oops, silly me. All right, so let's do this. Site channel. What is it? It's a term reference. How do we want to be able to choose? We want a select list. Done. Okay. Let's just move it up here so it's nice and pretty.
So the channel creator needs to let the cable box know.
That's
what
it. We're
it's-
we're programming,
Programming
we're
it.
programming the channels right now. All right, so that, we just did that on baseball equipment. So let's now come over here to baseball story. That's the other one we want to work with. Do we need to create that field again? Anybody? The answer is
You
no.
may have to add it to content types.
Nah, actually, check this out. I've already added a term reference field to that one content type. I don't need to create it again. All it's going to do is inflate my database. We don't want to do that. We want to be responsible. And there it is. It's already pre-configured the same way it was on the other one. I just keep on doing this for every content type you have. If you want to relate content using this logic, just add the existing field. It's already there. It's in.
Should you use the same field even if it's a different taxonomy?
That's something different. The answer is yes and no, really depending on how you model your data, and also if your taxonomy is multi-nested. There's some variables there. I'm a fan, if you can reuse it, do it. It's a good thing. It'll just keep your database tables in check, you know.
But the taxonomy selected is by content type?
It's right now, it's just a field that we're putting on these content types. That's building the bridge to the classification. We're using that to say, actually, I'm going to do it right now. The catcher's mitt, which is baseball equipment. What channel does that belong to? It belongs to the catcher's channel, right? So far, so good. The pitcher's glove. What does that belong to?
Pictures.
Picture. Pretty simple stuff, right? What else we got? The pitcher's glove.
Goalie.
Yeah, right.
Sorry.
Picture. Now we're getting somewhere. And the tools of ignorance. What's that one? Catchers. Ah, there we go. There it is. So now the view says, wow, cool. We are on, check it out, story, content type, and sure enough, the view is working. That contextual filter is now showing us equipment that has been classified with that same TV channel. So let's check this out. This is a new article we haven't seen before. We're looking at the Tools of Ignorance main article. Now we can check this out, the catcher's mitt. There's an article about the catcher's mitt. You can learn more about it there. That's pretty much the basics of working with vocabulary, with the terms, creating a view, with those, with the steps. Like I said, those 6 steps. And there's your end result.
So how would you put a view in that view?
Actually, we're going to go backwards now, because you noticed what I was just about to get to. This is cool. We got a sidebar here, but when I go here, I don't have a sidebar anymore. That's what you're getting at, right? So how do we do that? How do we go backwards? Anyone want to take a guess?
Create another view.
Close. That's one strategy, and actually that's a pretty good strategy to use right
Really
now.
block, let's change that block.
Somebody said.
Block inside that thing.
Let's take a look at some possibilities, because there's actually several. But to keep in scope of the beginner, thought process, let's try, we'll keep it in check. But there is actually several ways to do it. Okay. Related content block. If you notice, I named it strategically very generic, right? I didn't name it baseball equipment related block or something like that. I like to be able to reuse these things. What happens if we said that? If the content type is baseball equipment or baseball story, show me something on the right. Let's try it, see what happens. That's a problem.
Catcher's mitt.
Yeah, you gotta get. Check
Ah, there we go, wait. All right, let's go back here. And let's say, okay, maybe that's not the best way to do it right now. How about we do this? How about we take this block and we clone it? Let's call this. Let's see what would be a good naming thing here. Related equipment block. Oh, good, leave it that way anyway. All right, they both check. So if I go to blocks, what am I gonna see down on the bottom? Remember how we saw this guy? He was hidden all by himself down below? There it is, there we go. We got a related story one. Now we can put this one. Sidebar second.
seems like what you really want to do is show content of any type that's related, except the one you're looking at, right?
Pretty
So
much, yeah.
How would you do that? How do you exclude the one you're?
What I would, well, for the contents of this class, I wouldn't use this approach by far. I would actually do something totally way more generic than doing this. But to try and keep this thing in perspective, my main goal right now is just to get you guys to be able to model data using vocabulary with terms and assign content to that and generate a block on the right side. But Drupal actually has a view built into it that renders taxonomy as a whole. And when you enable that, but when you actually enable that, then you have a whole new slew of options and possibilities because the page becomes a taxonomy display basically. So you can have 7 content types on one page. You can now position those 7. So it's a whole big other scope of, well, another layer of what, what we're doing here. So,
Jay, is this the same process you would do to put a left side filter sidebar?
a filter,
To build a list of filters?
like exposed filters in view, like selection choices, stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think that's what you mean.
To filter what content you're showing in a list.
That's actually done in views, because that would be an exposed filter. That's a different thing than this. That's actually, let me show you one here. If we were here, and we said, okay, I want the user to be able to select what kind of story they want to see on the right-hand side. That's creating an exposed filter there. And then we can make it a drop-down, where they can say, oh, they want to see equipment, I only want to see. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, drop down or,
Yeah.
some kind of a selection.
Yeah. But we want to try and get this thing to be automated. So when I'm on equipment, I see story. When I'm on story, I see equipment.
Right.
That's kind of what we're looking to do.
Now, does the context filter look at everything on the page or just that what's in the content area?
What's
the
happening,
content block?
the mechanics of what's happening is when we are on a node, this particular node here, what's happening over here is it's saying, hey, if this piece of content has a taxonomy term ID, if it has been tagged, classified to the taxonomy, to that vocabulary, then I want to show related content over here using that ID number.
If they have the same, they share that taxonomy term.
Right, exactly. That's the mechanics of how this works. So if we're looking at a node that's from the catcher's channel, then I want to see equipment from the catcher's channel on the right-hand side. That's it. So let's see, 2 minutes, that's working. Oh, there we go. That's working. We got it working. That was it. So, guys, I'll leave you with one last little thought. What I recommend you guys do is, make no mistake, taxonomy is a really in-depth subject. I just barely even scratched the surface of what you can do, but it is a classification tool that runs sites that have millions and millions and millions of nodes. That's how powerful it is. It's very tightly integrated into Drupal core, and there's all kinds of cool stuff you can do with it. Because as of Drupal 7, actually it wasn't this way in Drupal 6, but in Drupal 7, it's almost like a content type. You could add fields, you could add images, you could add videos. So if we're on the catcher's channel, the taxonomy term, we could actually display that taxonomy with all of those fields that I just mentioned. So there's a lot more things. So I would definitely recommend that you take a look at these 2 nodes here, which are both on Drupal.org. Additionally, I'll have this presentation plus screenshots of all the views and all the content type fields, the stuff that we had worked on, up on my site and also on the campsite as well. But to come up with really rich, interesting content displays that fire off stuff automatically, like we were working on today, I mean, that's really what makes Drupal sites cool to be able to do stuff like that. You know, and as you learn more, especially from these two articles, you could doctor up those views and alter the taxonomy term itself with additional fields to make it really, really rich experiences. Like I said, with images, all kinds of cool stuff. So, for right now, thanks for listening.